hello folks, welcome to this multi-creator challenge. It's versus 5. I am the Custard Prophet and this is the recap video of all the episode 3 videos that were put out across the various creators channels. If you're not sure what versus is, well, this is a competition that I've been putting out for a little while. There's an introduction video in the description below, so check that out for full details. But briefly, what it is a competition where we've split up our 10 creators into 5 from Team GB, 5 from Team Rest of the World, and they are going up against each other head to head in a Ryder Cup style challenge. A pair of creators, one from Team Rest of the World and Team GB, will going off head to head in their own unique challenge. They'll both be managing the same club over the course of a single season, and whoever gets the most amount of points in that season wins the point for their team. So we're halfway through, and let's recap where we were at the end of episode 2. So it was tight as heck in episode 2. As you can see, you can also see the creators involved and also the time at which they release their videos. Both creators will release videos at that particular time that you see on your screen. So in match 1, United City FM is trailing Old Lady Plays 19 to 25 points, managing Sassuolo. So Old Lady Plays with a good advantage there after less than halfway through the season at that point. Avoiding relegation, a 5-point lead over Chasing Lamely. This is a battle of the captains, so work to be done there by Chasing Lamely. It's 2 currently going the way of Team Rest of the World, but Football Manager Maniac is beating a Leyodemus by 8 points in the 3rd match, so that's a 1 back for Team GB. Myself against Bobby G, it's all square, all to play for, and that trucking Football Manager in the bottom match is leading FM Digi in a really tough lower league management battle at Trefellyn Boys and Girls Club in Wales. That's how things stood at the end of episode 2. Let's go and find out what's happened now in all of the episode 3 videos and leading up to them as well. So it's match 1, we're about halfway through the season now. Old Lady Plays from Team Rest of the World is taking on United City FM. So it was interestingly poised last time we were together. Old Lady Plays was 6 points ahead after 10 games played, 25 points to 19. So we're coming back now to see game day 19, and we'll see how things have gone in that period. We did reflect that United City FM had a lot of his hard games up front, and Old Lady Plays had some of those coming up. So we'll see whether that made a difference. Right then, first of all, let's have a little look how things have gone on, because we have gone through, I think, part of the transfer window. So let's see what transfer business has been done. Well, as far as I'm aware, Old Lady Plays has not done any transfer business. I'm sure she will correct me in the comments below if that is the case, but I didn't see anything going through on her videos, on her video. But United City FM has made a couple of signings, both of whom were on loan. First of all, from Liverpool on loan, a versatile midfielder, Curtis Jones, as you can see here, looks a real decent pickup for a 19-year-old. I mean, certainly he's someone you might want to be keeping around for a little bit longer if you are taking this save a little bit further. But he's a very versatile player, can play on the left side, the right side of midfield, and also all the way through the middle. Going to give United City FM a good bunch of options. The other player that he has brought in is a loan player from Villarreal, Ramiro Funes Mori, who used to play for Everton, and he is a central defender, and he'll basically just be filling in as backup at the back there. In terms of tactical tweaks, no real tactical tweaks from anyone. I did notice that United City FM is now using fullbacks rather than wingbacks, but that's all that I have noticed. I think both of these tactics are working incredibly well, to be perfectly honest, considering where we left them last time. Right then, let's have a little look how things have gone on up to game day 18, and then we'll have a little watch see how things have, and then we'll have a watch to see how things fare for game day 19. We'll start off with Old Lady Plays, and you can see last game we saw was a 1-0 win away against Roma. A little bit lucky. I think Kate even admitted that. And then the tough run came, and the likes of Juventus, Inter and Napoli back to back is not an easy run of games. And we've seen a few losses and a few draws. I mean, two losses, 3 draws, which is, a fair amount in a short amount of time. But on the other hand, there were some really tricky games to play there. So there is every opportunity for Kev to make a little bit of headway into Old Lady Plays' 6-point lead. But can he do that? Let's find out. Well, he can. His run was significantly easier. Maybe an away game against Parma and Milan were fairly tough games, but what United City FM has done is not conceded an awful lot of goals and won all bar 2 games, and those that he's drawn. That is a fairly impressive set of performances. He's done exactly what he needed to do, to be perfectly fair. Now, we sit here on game day 18, and United City FM has got himself 39 points, which is a huge haul over the first half of the season. And what is absolutely fascinating is that he has overtaken Old Lady Plays. She's now on 37 points with the same number of games played. So he has picked up 8 points since last time. Right then, so we're going to be seeing how they're going to get on in their next couple of games. It's 2 games you would expect both of these teams to win. An away match against Spezia for United City FM, who were promoted, and they beat quite comfortably in the first match of the season. And for Old Lady Plays, it is a home match against Parma. So we'll see how that goes. I'll see you in a second. Okay, well, it's, it was exciting. I think it was never in doubt for Old Lady Play. She looked comfortable all the way through that. A 2-0 comfortable victory over Parma. Got to be happy with that. Decent performance, and just needs to keep that going. But the real surprise was the performance that we saw from United City FM. That it was 2-0 in the end, but had to wait until injury time to get the first of those goals. So keeping us in suspense. But what that does mean is that Kev maintains his 2-point lead. He is on 42 points, whereas Old Lady Plays is on 40 points. It's exciting stuff, isn't it? We're going to have to see how things go when we come back for game day 4. But let's move on to match 2. Right, and folks, match 2. This is Battle of the Captains. For Team GB, we have Chasing Lamely, and for Team Rest of the World, it is Avoiding Relegation. And they have been battling against each other in the MLS with Los Angeles FC. So last time we were together, which was, I think, game day 14, there was a 5-point gap with Avoiding Relegation with a slight lead over Chasing Lamely. And it was all looking fairly interesting at that point. Could go either way, but that advantage to Team Rest of the World. So we're coming back today for game day 21, which should be interesting. I think we're over halfway through the season now, and we'll see how these two have got on. So no particular tactical tweaks that have been noted, no particular transfers that have been noted, but the one thing that has happened for both of the managers is that Brian Rodriguez has come back from loan. Now he's come back from loan, and he seems to have done a pretty good job for both of the different managers in some way. However, and I will talk about this in a second, for Chasing Lamely, he did cause a bit of a problem. Let's have a look at the results, and we'll start with avoiding relegation. And you can see he says it hasn't quite gone as well as last time. It's still gone pretty well, hasn't it? His wonder tactic continues to be brilliant. 2 draws in amongst that, maybe against teams you might not expect him to be drawing with, but lots and lots of wins, lots of goals scored. Looking pretty damn good. A few injuries that he's complaining about, so as the games start to kick in quick and fast, if that's an expression, so there might be a little bit of a squad depth issue, but as things stand, that's a pretty good haul from the next few games with just 4 points dropped. Right, and let's see how Chasing Lamely has got on over the same period. So I think last time both managers played Nashville as a sort of weird quirk, despite their fixtures being different. But as you can see, the game straight after Nashville was a pretty positive one for Chasing Lamely with a 3-1 victory. But after that, not a win in sight. A really disappointing run. Okay, there's some US Cup games in amongst that, but there are some pretty horrific results in there. Now, it's not as bad quite as it looks. There is a reason for that 10-1 loss, and Brian Rodriguez, or whatever his name is, and Brian Rodriguez has got a lot to do with it. So for Chasing Lamely, Brian Rodriguez came back, and for whatever reason, he couldn't be registered. But the problem was, when Chasing Lamely then tried to sort that out, it turned out the entire squad couldn't be registered for the next match. So ended up not having a team to play with. So I guess it's, I don't know, the greyed out players, the reserves that played against Columbus and lost 10-1 at home. Bit disappointing, that. And yeah, I guess that did not help results thereafter. But there was a lot of draws, and actually you look at it, and there's only 2 losses in there in the league, but just a lot of draws. So what does that mean in terms of the how things are standing? Well, after 20 games, Chasing Lamely is on 36 points, but way out in head. 13 points ahead now is avoiding relegation. It is looking unlikely that this is going to go the way of Team GB. But let's go and have a look how things went in game day 21. In the case of Chasing Lamely, it's going to be Colorado at home, and avoiding relegation is away against Seattle Sounders. Let's have a look. Okay, well, 2 wins, 2 very, very comfortable wins from both managers. Avoiding relegation, very, very comfortable victory away at Seattle. 4-0. what can you say, looked imperious. And actually, after the really poor run of form, chasing lamely with a very, very good 3-0 victory, to end that run of draws and losses and horrendous stuff. So hopefully things start to go a little bit better, at least hopefully from the point of view of Team GB. I'm in this role, I'm supposed to be somewhat impartial. I'm not quite sure how impartial I am, but we want this to be a bit closer, don't we? So let's hope things kind of get a bit closer for the next game. Anyway, let's move on to match 3. Right, it's match 3. This is Football Manager Maniac from Team GB taking on Leyodemus from Team Rest of the World at Standard Liège. So this is a no transfer signing, which makes it a little bit harder. You wouldn't have thought that after last episode when we played 12 matches and Football Manager Maniac had pushed himself into a 8-point lead at that stage. Absolutely crazy. Not losing a single game. Absolutely unbelievable form. Leyodemus had played well. I think he was top of the league in his own save at that point, but was absolutely nowhere near Football Manager Maniac. Just crazy form. So we're moving here to game day 24. And we'll see those highlights today. But the question we're asking is, has Leyodemus managed to claw some of that 8-point lead back? Because as we get to the end of the season, this is a shorter season than some others. We're well past halfway. If he's not starting to claw that back, then he's going to find it very, very tricky to come back into this match. Right then, let's get into it. Let's first of all see whether there's been any tactical tweaks by any of the creators. They've both changed things somewhat. Football Manager Maniac, I'm not going to show this because he has just made some very small role changes within his tactic. But this is what Leyodemus has put together, his standard 3.0 tactic. He's gone all out. He's tried to create something which is not about counter-attack, but it is purely about attacking, in the hope to catch up Football Manager Maniac. He sort of realised he has to do something. So this is what he's come up with. He reckons it's going to score some goals and probably concede some goals. And we'll see how it's got on in the first, since the last time we were together. Right then, so let's first of all have a look how Leyodemus has got on since last time. And actually, his form has been really good. There's a lot of green in there, as you can see. There are 2 losses away at Ghent and away at Anderlecht. So 2 of the harder games that he's going to face. But the rest of the matches played have been wins away from home or at home. Some really, really impressive stuff in there without really too much trouble. And today, as you can see, he's going to be playing away against Genk, who he has just beaten in the Belgian Cup quarterfinals. So, you know, it looks like he's certainly got things going well. In the case of Football Manager Maniac, he has continued to do ridiculously well. There are some losses in there, but they are all in Europe. And I did say that maybe his European journey might cost him. Well, it hasn't at all. He has dropped points finally. He drew against Cercle Bruges away and home against Charleroi. 2 results you wouldn't necessarily expect. But you look at that. Wins against Antwerp. Wins against Anderlecht. Against Genk away from home. Really, really comfortable wins. So it's been unbelievably impressive, I have to say, from the Maniac, and he continues to he continues to push forward. Well, what you will be able to work out from that is that there's not a massive change from last time, but Leyodemus has gone further behind. So he is now up to 55 points, which is a very respectable number after 23 games. But Football Manager Maniac is 10 points ahead of him now on 65 points. Not a lot of games remaining. That's going to be hard to claw back. So today we're going to have a look at game day 24. Leyodemus, as I said, is away against Genk, and Football Manager Maniac is away against Custard, who are not quite as good as Genk. But looking at his form, we might expect a victory. Let's go and see how they got on. Well, I mean, an imperious performance from Football Manager Maniac, 4-1 win, and that fourth goal was something special. A really impressive run from the left-sided midfielder to bang it past the goalkeeper from distance. I mean, that's what he's doing. But the interplay between the players, the passing that's going on, everyone's on the same page, and it looks really, really impressive. For Leyodemus, unfortunately, it was a really tough, poor performance, losing comfortably away to Genk. Genk looked very, very good going forward, and Leyodemus didn't seem to have what it took today to deal with that. And what that does mean now is that Leyodemus falls another 3 points behind the Maniac, so he is 13 points behind, staying on 55 points, whereas now Football Manager Maniac is moving to 68 points. I don't see a way back anymore. I really don't. But, you know, there's still, mathematically, it's possible. We'll see what happens next time. On to match 4. Okay, here we are for match 4. This is myself for Team GB and Bobby G for Team Rest of the World. We are both managing Burton Albion for the season. I think of all the challenges, this has got the most amount of games in it. So, yeah, we're coming back here after game day 28, but last time we were together, it was all square. It was the only match that was that close. It was just goal difference separating us. We've come back a bunch of games further on, and it's going to be fascinating to see whether we are still incredibly close or whether one of us has kind of pulled away. Let's have a little look first of all at the tactics and transfers. Well, we can deal with the tactics straight up front. No changes in tactic at all, but there have been some transfers to look out for. Bobby G has had somebody go out. Yes, Ben Woodburn, who was on loan from Liverpool at the start of the season, he has left. I guess he must have done a 6-month loan or something like that, but all one of those funny things where the club didn't like the way he was playing him. But anyway, he was getting a bunch of games, but he's left the club, which is a bit of a disappointment, and he has brought in Dylan Levitt, which is not a perfect replacement at all. It's in fact a central midfielder in this case who can play perhaps a little bit further up the pitch. Got excellent passing attributes on him, so it looks like this guy could be a pretty good player. Look at the passing and vision combo. Yeah, I like that guy a lot. Young player on loan from Manchester United. For my own sins, well, I've bought in another player, and it's another central midfielder. In this case, it's on loan from Brighton, and it's Jason Malumbi. Look at him, it's a very, very similar story. His attributes look incredibly similar to... that's a lie, actually. He's not as good. He's not as good. I'll say it right now. He's not as good as the player we've just seen, but he's not far off. His passing and vision is okay. He's got good work rate, though. So... He's a decent player, 3.5 star potential, so I'm 3.5 star ability, so I'm certainly not complaining about that, and it gives me a few extra options in midfield, as it does for Bobby, I'm sure. Let's move on to see how things have gone in the results since we were last together. So we will start with Bobby G's results. And you can see here that Bobby has done well. He is unbeaten. He's lost in the cup, which is a little frustrating for him. 2 losses in the cup, but all we're seeing there is 5 draws, and those are the only points dropped. So 10 points dropped, nothing more. That's going to be hard to match. You look at some of the results in there. It's quite weird. So, home matches, dropping points in a bunch of home matches. Gillingham are a bit of a troublesome side, and then just drawing away against Doncaster in the last game. And this is what I've done. Unfortunately, it's a little bit disappointing. You see the loss against Hull right at the top there. That was the last game we saw, and since that time, there have been a couple of losses in the league, and unfortunately 5 draws as well. So that's 6 points dropped in addition to the points that Bobby dropped. That's not good. So unsurprisingly, we are a little way behind at this stage. So after 27 games, I'm sitting there on 50 points, and Bobby is 6 points ahead on 56 points. But still, I think all to play for at this time. So today we are going to be playing Hull City at home. It's the reverse fixture of the last one. Bizarrely, I didn't actually notice that when I set this up. We're going to see whether both of us can do the business here. Let's go and have a look. Two pretty similar games in terms of scoreline, not necessarily getting there in the same way. I thought my 2-0 win was fairly comfortable. Bobby's, there was a sending off, Michael Mancian getting sent off, but other than that, he still managed to score the goals that he needed to against. It's good to see that Hull City, they were top of the league in my save, top of the league in my save, second in his. In fact, in my side, they got a few more points, and we're just 1 point behind them. So I think in his league, I would be second. So currently after that, we are on 50. Currently after that, I'm sitting there on 53 points, but Bobby G still out in front, 6 points ahead for Team Rest of the World on 59 points. Is that league going to be important? Is that going to be enough to give Bobby G the point come the end of the season? Let's move on to match 5. Well, hello folks, this is match 5, and here that Trucking Football Manager is representing Team GB and FM Digi Team Rest of the World. So, last time we were together, that Trucking Football Manager had a small lead. I think it was 7-3 after the first 7 games. So all to play for at that point. And today they've moved on to game 15, and we'll see game 15 for both of them. But let's have a look what has happened in the meantime. Well, in terms of signings, there's again a bunch of signings who are coming in, who have come in, and it is just a merry-go-round in both of these clubs. But I think that's what you've got to do, really, just find something that works and go with that. Because it's all kind of non-contract, it doesn't really matter too much. No real tactical changes from either of the managers. TTFM has decided to go slightly more attacking, so he's completely ignoring any sort of form of defence. as a way of alleviating the fact that his defence is terrible. And FM Digi, he's kind of simplified his tactics, taken a lot of the player instructions off, which will hopefully make things a little bit easier for his team. So let's have a little look how both of these players have been getting on in the last few games, so the next 7 games, and that's so we'll start with Trucking Football Manager, and as you can see, after that 4-0 drubbing that we saw in the last episode, it's gone really, really well. Just 2 losses and a draw, but a bunch of wins have been picked up, so that's really good form for a club that's predicted to come bottom. Yeah, TTFM has got them in really good form, and they're actually I think they're 6th in the table at the minute, which is quite impressive. So we'll look how FM Digi's getting on. Obviously, things were not going well for him. He hadn't picked up a win when we checked in last time. That is no longer the case. So after that 1-1 draw against Risker, he picked up a good couple of draws and 3 wins as well. So that's really good form as well. And you can see that Tom Walters, the striker, is doing bits for him in front of goal. Really, really impressive. So we're coming back here for game day 15. TTFM will be away to Llanelli. Yeah, in the comments, please, how do you say that? I've listened to TTFM saying that a bunch of times. I've looked online and I still can't get my head around it. So them away from home, and Digi is at home, but he is playing Cambrian and Clydach, which is an easier one to say. The points total at the minute is, after 14 games, we have 20 points for TTFM and 14 points for FM Digi. So it's 6 points is the difference. So that has increased slightly from last time out. Okay, let's get into the game. Okay, well, that is interesting. TTFM, a really good away win against the team with the unpronounceable name, and that is going to be really important, where particularly given Digi had a rather disappointing home loss against Cambrian and Clydach. A disallowed goal and a few other bits of bad luck there, but I mean, in the main, I guess that was a deserved loss. 3-0 though is a harsh scoreline. So what does that look like now? Well, TTFM now is on 23 points after 15 games, whereas FM Digi is sitting there still on 14. So that is a 9-point difference now. That's going to be massive. Right, let's sum it all up. Right then, so that is all 5 matches recapped. Let's have a look how things stand overall. It's a little reminder of the scores on the doors. So in the top match, Old Lady Plays was ahead at the end of episode 2, but United City FM has raced back and is now 2 points in the lead over Old Lady Plays. We're over halfway through that one. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the second half of the season. It could go any way, that one. Match 2, it is with captain avoiding relegation. He is extended his lead over Chasing Lomi a long way back for the captain of Team GB there. So we'll see what happens in episode 4, but it's going to be hard to come back from that. And likewise, it is going to be hard for Leyodemus to come back in his match against Football Manager Maniac, who is now 13 points ahead of Leyodemus. So that's going to be tough. So that's that's looking good for potentially for a point for Team GB, but you never know. Things have changed in match 4. I'm now 6 points behind Bobby G. He's had a good run since we were last together, and he's pulled 6 points away. I think that's still easily catch-upable, if that's a term. So we'll see what happens in match 4. We're well over halfway, but still, there's a lot of games in League One, so still a good number of games to go. It could all change. And that Trucking Football Manager, a 9-point lead over FM Digi. It looks like both of them are getting their skates on and starting getting that Welsh team ticking a little bit. Yeah, we'll see what happens in the next game. But it's really exciting at this point. As things stand, if it was to finish now, Team GB would be winning 3-2. So we've slowly creeped. It was 3-2 down after the first episode. It was 2.5 after episode 2, and now we've moved it up to 3-2. So can we push it even further in the next one, or will Team Rest of the World come back? It's very, very possible. I hope you've enjoyed this, and if you have, make sure you hit that like button. Please share this around. It'd be great to get a few more eyes on this. I love this format, and I hope you are enjoying it too. All the creators, all their details is down in the description below, so go over to their channels, sub to their channels. Make sure you head over for the release of the various games on the times that you can see on the screen in front of you. And yeah, if you have enjoyed this video, please drop that. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe if you are new. Hit the notifications, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.